Hey everybody, welcome back to One Seed, One World. Today I just wanted to do a little bit of a plant focus on a wild plant that you might see that could pop up in some more naturalized areas of your yard. They're probably more often seen like in fields or maybe along roadsides, areas that aren't disturbed too much. Like you're not going to find them in the spot that you would normally mow or take care of in your yard. But I have an area out here that I don't do a whole lot with. I do come back here and weed whack and whatnot sometimes, but when I see these growing, I let them go because I think it's a cool plant. This one's kind of goofy looking, and I'll show you some other better specimens that I have growing out here that are farther up here on the slope, but wanted to show you this one because this area is a little bit more cleared and easier to film here. So this is a mullein. Mullein is a perennial plant. The first year when it comes up, it just kind of has like these little whorls of leaves and does not have a flowering stalk or anything like you see here. The second year is when it puts up this long stalk, and the stalks themselves, while this one is a poor specimen, they can get 8 to 10 feet tall. Now, these leaves are super soft. Other names for this are velvet leaf or even cowboy toilet paper. And I think it's because of how soft the leaves are. It's almost like nature's Charmin, I guess. So, the plant originated in probably North Africa and in Europe, and did not come to the US until about the 1700s when settlers brought the plant over, or brought the seeds over with them. The reason why they brought the seeds with them is because this plant has multiple toxic properties to it. Specifically, the seeds have rhodonone in it, and I think also the root does too. But they would use the seeds. Rhodonone can be used as a fish poison. That might sound kind of drastic, but it has narcotic effects. So they would make an infusion with the seeds and pour it into the water where the fish were. Probably like not in a river or anything like that, because I don't know if it would work very well in a river, but probably like in a pond or, you know, stiller bodies of water that are more still that might have fish in it. They would take this infusion of the mullein seeds and then pour it into the water. The narcotic effect from that seed, or from those seeds, or the infusion of the seeds, would stun the fish, and they could reach in and just actually grab the fish. And so it was used as a way to catch fish easily. But there are other properties in the plant that can be toxic. And I will list up some of those scientific names here of the toxic properties that are in the plant. The leaves have been used over the years as like in topical salves, like for skin irritants. Also, Native American tribes and probably other tribes and indigenous people in Europe and in Northern Africa would use the plant in religious ceremonies and for other types of medicinal purposes. The main part of the plant that is used internally is just the flowers. Even that has to be prepared properly because the calyx and the stamen in the flowers have tiny hairs in them that if you were to, you know, put them in something and then drink it, they would be a throat irritant. But some people make infusions out of it, out of the flowers, or they can also dry the flowers if it's all done properly. I have a tea called Happy Lung Tea. It's used as an expectorant to help get rid of mucus and also help if you have a bad cough when mixed with other natural ingredients. Mine has dried mullein flowers, elderberry, dried elderberry, cherry bark, a few other things that are in it. But you know, there's different aspects of the plant that have been used medicinally, also to help control diarrhea and a few other things that it was used for. Now, of course, you would always want to consult your doctor, a dietitian, a naturalist, somebody that would be able to direct you on how to properly use it if you were harvesting it yourself. Don't just take my word for it. This is just a general information about the plant. Or you can, you know, like I buy that tea, it's already been properly dried and prepared so that it can be taken internally. Again, that's only the flowers. Other parts of the plant would need to be used on an external purpose. because of the other toxicity that is in it. So this one here is kind of goofy the way that it grew, and I'll show you, you know, like some better specimens that I have growing here that are much taller. But these flowering stalks can get 8 to 10 feet tall, and they have a 5-petaled flower that mainly open in the morning, and normally by early afternoon they are closed. This one here has a couple little yellow buds at the top that have already closed up. They tend to start flowering at the bottom of the stalk and then kind of flower in like little singles or bunches as they go up. These will close up and be done, and then they kind of work their way up that way. The plant itself can put off anywhere from 100,000 to 240,000 seeds per year. And with something like that, you would think that it would become quite the nuisance and spread very rapidly. But they're not really, you know, blown by the wind and carried off and float through the air. They kind of just drop on the ground. They also need a fair amount of sunlight to even germinate. So a lot of times when they drop to the ground, they get covered up by stuff and they don't grow. However, the seeds can be viable for decades, and they will just lie dormant in the ground. And if the soil gets disturbed, the seeds become uncovered and kind of come to the surface over time, get enough sun and the right conditions, then they'll start to sprout and kind of work their way, you know, into a new plant. Now, I say that they can be viable for decades, but under the right conditions, they can be viable for much longer than that. There was an archaeological dig that was done where they took a soil sample that had some mullein seeds in it that was, I don't know, a couple thousand years old or something. I mean, it was a really old sample. The seeds in it were still viable. So these seeds can hang around for a long time and just wait for the right moment to sprout. But, you know, I mean, over the several years in this area back here, I have 4 or 5 that have come up. I got a new one down here that's in its first year, so no flowering stalk. And then I have 3 or 4 others. One actually got run over by a car because it was at the edge of our driveway up front, and we had friends over and somebody ran over it. But the ones back here have been doing well. I'm not really sure what happened with this one, why it's so small and goofy and twisted, but we'll show you the other ones and what they look like. So as you can see, a better form mullein, cowboy toilet paper, velvet leaf, whatever it is that you call it, they can get pretty big when they have the right conditions. And they're a cool plant. I just wanted to share it with you. You know, they have the medicinal properties. You can do more research on that if it's something you want to, you know, work on yourself. Again, make sure you are doing things properly. They do have the toxic properties, so you have to be careful. Only the flowers are used for internal use. But you know, it's another one of these cool things that you find in nature that maybe that you aren't planting that just show up that could have a potential use. I actually bought some mullein seeds a couple years ago and never got around to planting them. But then I've had these pop up over the last couple years, and I always just let them grow. When I'm out here weed whacking or mowing, I always go around them and make sure I save them, because when the flowers are open in the morning, and you know, now it's mid-afternoon, so I can't show you those in great detail. I'll throw a picture up though so you can kind of see what they look like. But they're really pretty yellow flowers that come on these, and just kind of a cool plant. So whatever's going on in your neck of the woods and in your naturalized areas, I hope you're finding some cool stuff. But thanks for hanging out again with me today, and I hope your day is going fantastic. We'll see you again soon. Subscribe to the channel. Have a great day. Namaste.